Hello, welcome to Messing About with Models with me, John. Today we're going to have a look at the latest acquisition for Loch Doune, a Heljan Class 26. Hello, today I'm going to tell you about the latest acquisition for Loch Doune, which is a Heljan Class 26. No Scottish model representing the 1960s, 70s or even 80s would be complete without a representation of the Class 26. Over the years there's been two made, one by Lima in the 1980s and more recently one by Heljan. Or is it Heljan? I don't know how you pronounce that. I've recently picked up a Heljan model off of eBay, second hand, which is how I managed to get it for about £70, which is roughly half the recommended retail price of them at the moment, brand new. As a result, the previous owner had already fitted some of the detailed parts that are included with the model, especially around the buffer beam, etc. First, a little bit of background historical information about the Class 26. In the late 1950s, the Birmingham Railway Carriage Works, BRCW, were building diesel locomotives for British Rail. The first one that they built, they teamed up with Sulzer using their 6LDA26A series engine to produce a batch of 20 which were similar to the Class 24 that had been built at Derby, BR's Derby Works, using the same engine but with Crompton electrical gear. The styling was a little more refined, and some design lessons had been learnt from the Class 24, so all of the engine intake grills were located high up above the cant rail on the body rather than scattered across the body side as they were with the Class 24. Initially they were allocated to sheds on the eastern region in London and used for goods traffic and cross-London traffic into the southern region. But when these were displaced by Class 31s, they were all sent up north to Scotland, and the follow-on locos, the rest of Class 26 and Class 27s, which were a further development of the Class 26, using a slightly different, more improved engine from Sulzer, ended up in Scotland, where they stayed for many years. The last Class 26 was withdrawn in the early 1990s. So you can see their classic Scottish diesel traction. But what about the model? Well, as you can see, it's quite a heavy locomotive. I think it's probably one of the heaviest locomotives I've got, which bodes well for its pulling power. Certainly compared to some of the older Lima diesels with just a Ringfield motor bogie in it, this one feels as if it's really sort of heavy and means business. The overall appearance of the locomotive is captured very well, I think. I've had the luck to be quite close up to a number of these Class 26s in preservation at the Caledonian Railway at Brecon, and these look to be really good representations of the Class 26. As you can see, it has sprung buffers, which, as regular viewers will know, I don't have much truck with because I don't see the need for them in modern 00 layouts where the buffers serve no actual purpose. We because of the curves that we have on our railways, we need to keep rolling stock separated from the buffers. They're not actually used to buff up to anything, so there's no need for them, but it's a nice touch. There's plenty of separately applied details, and although I didn't have the included detailing packs, there are additional details that can be added, including things like head coat discs, buffer beam detail, etc. But as I said, this model, being pre-owned, had some of that already done. And overall, I think it looks really, really good. The only disappointing thing for me is the lights. Now obviously on the prototypes the lights would have been relatively dim in any case, being oil lamps, and certainly hardly visible in daylight. But you'd expect on a modern locomotive that we'd have LED lighting, but Heljan have gone for traditional bulbs of the sort that Hornby were fitting in the 1970s. And as traditional bulbs, they tend to, and just like normal traditional bulbs, they don't have a long lifespan. So needless to say, these aren't working. There's two options. I can either replace them, spare parts are easily available for them, or I can have a go at converting them to LEDs. So don't forget to subscribe and be notified of future videos where I might just do that. As you can see, it's a very smooth, slow runner, ideal for a small shunting layout or small branch passenger layout. But I think with the weight of the machine, it's also going to be able of pulling a fairly long passenger or goods train on a larger layout. All in all, I think it's an indispensable addition to the loco roster. And anyone who's planning a Scottish layout needs to have one. Don't forget to check out my other reviews on the channel, or some of the other videos that I've got, and of course don't forget to be subscribed to be notified of the next video that will be coming out. See you soon.